They say that necessity is the mother of invention, and nowhere is that more true than here. Welcome to Code from the Broom Closet. This is Davin. He's 23 years old and this is his office. It might look like your typical Silicon Valley startup, but it's not. The reason is because Davin's company wasn't started in some high-rise overlooking the Googleplex. It was actually started in a broom closet. But before we get into how he got here, we have to start with the beginning. We traveled to Davin's hometown to meet his dad and hear about his humble beginnings. This is Miguel. He works as a janitor at a local school where Davin would spend his summers helping him out. And this is where Davin was born, right there in the back room. It was a pretty normal delivery, all things considered. But it's not like they had any money for cribs or baby clothes. So Miguel put Davin to work right away. Instead of a crib, he used an old box of textbooks. As a blanket, he used one of the many, many mops in the room. And when it came time to feed him, well, it just kind of had to be whatever Miguel had in his lunch pail. As you can imagine, growing up wasn't easy. They were poor, very poor. At one point, they didn't even have electricity. But through it all, Davin's mom, Maria, never let them forget the most important thing. She told Davin and his sister, "The only thing separating us from everyone else is our minds. As long as you keep learning, you can do anything." And Davin took those words to heart. He would watch the kids at the school throwing textbooks away and asked if he could have them. Then he would take the disused manuals home, read them cover to cover, and try to apply what he learned to programming. In fact, when Davin was just 8 years old, he was already fixing computers for people in his neighborhood. Of course, by fixing, he mostly meant taking them apart, putting them back together and hoping for the best. But even at that age, he had a knack for it. By middle school, Davin had developed a website for the local bakery, made ATMs talk to customers in Spanish, and built an alarm system for his mom's flower shop. He did all this without ever paying for internet access. When he needed to borrow a computer, he would go to his school, sneak in after hours, and use one of the computers in the lab until the night watchman shooed him out. He also spent hundreds of hours at the public library using their computers to learn new languages and test code. In high school, Davin was still working as a janitor's assistant for his dad and continuing his tradition of borrowing computers. One day, Davin realized that his dad was spending way too much time driving between schools to make sure he finished his route on time. He decided to build something to help him, and in the process, he taught himself a lot about programming. He built his first app, a simple program that allowed his dad to better manage his routes and schedules. But Davin didn't stop there. He kept improving the app and adding features like time clocks and automatic reminders. And it worked so well that other janitors in the building wanted to know how he did it. Davin gave them a demo, and they loved it. Soon, Davin's phone was blowing up with requests. He was making apps for construction workers, dog walkers, nannies, house cleaners, and more. And while all this was going on, Davin was trying to finish high school. In fact, he did such a good job with his apps that Forbes wrote a story about him, and his journey from living in a janitor's closet to running a successful business. But sadly, right when Davin was graduating high school, his father got sick and couldn't work. Suddenly, Davin was the only person in his family making money, and he needed to focus on earning a steady income. So he stopped making apps. After seeing how hard his father worked, Davin felt compelled to do something nice for him. He went online to see if he could find some free software for his dad to use in his work. But when he couldn't find anything suitable, Davin decided he would make something himself. He started by making a simple tool that allowed janitors to plan their routes more efficiently. But then he added features like inventory management and time clocks. Soon, Miguel was able to double his income and retire. In fact, Davin's work became so popular that he started getting calls from janitors across the country asking for help. Again, Davin's phone was ringing off the hook. And since he had more contacts now than ever before, he decided to scale his operation and turn it into a company. Davin reached out to every professional contact he had, but nobody took him seriously. See, most people thought that his background held him back. Like, who would listen to a kid claiming to be a self-taught programmer when they've never graduated college? But Davin refused to give up. He knew that he didn't have a fancy degree, so he would have to work twice as hard. With that mentality, Davin was able to convince a few believers to invest in his company. These are the people who took a chance on Davin. They are the company's first employees, and this is their office. Today, the company has over 50,000 customers across 47 different industries and 7 countries. All of this from a small broom closet. Now, this is probably the part where I tell you that Davin is a genius and he's changing the world with his programming skills, and none of that is true. In fact, Davin says that he's far from being a great programmer. He spends most of his time working on sales and strategy. What Davin does have is grit. He's willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. And in a way, his background helps him connect with his audience. He understands the struggles of workers everywhere, and he knows how to show up for them. At the end of the day, Davin isn't interested in being the next Facebook or Google. He just wants to help hardworking people. And if he can make a living doing that, then that's success enough for him. While some people may feel like they're held back by their circumstances, Davin proves that it's just the opposite. Sometimes you need to start in a broom closet in order to appreciate the view from the top. So what's next for Davin? Well, he plans to continue growing the company, but he also wants to give back. He's currently working with several organizations to teach underprivileged kids about computer science. His goal is to show them that no matter where they're from or what they're starting with, they can do anything they set their minds to. We want to thank Davin and his father, Miguel, for sharing their story with us. And we hope it inspires you to pursue your dreams no matter where you start. Speaking of dreams, I have a question for you. Where did you dream of starting your career? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us grow. And we have lots of other stories like this that we think you'll love. That's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.